Welcome back to another episode of Gas Snacks Gears. My name is Daniel, and today we have Arawn and his menacing S7. Yeah, let us know more about your car, man.
Yeah, it's a 2014 S7, currently just tuned, straight pipe exhaust, otherwise engine's completely stock pretty much. Planning to build it eventually, but you know, all things come in time.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's one of those things where with infinite money it would be perfect, but again, life is finite like that. But yeah, look, let's head on off. We're gonna go grab some breakfast and then hopefully enjoy not being cold for once. So with the S7, how long have you had it for as well?
So I've had this for nearly 2 years now. Yeah, nearly 2 years, coming up this May. Because it's now end of April.
Yeah.
Yeah, it came from a Commodore before this. RS7 was always a dream car.
Yeah.
Didn't know that the S7 existed. Stumbled across a video of one, realized it sounded the same. Did a bit of research and was like, oh, pretty much is the same. There's a few differences, but you know, for 50 grand less, it's not a lot.
That's not too bad. So like with the RS7, main differences obviously besides the monetary aspect and the, you know, the R badge, gearbox is different.
Yes, so this has a 7-speed DSG, whereas the RS7 has a 8-speed single clutch ZF transmission, just capable of handling more torque, which is why it's in there from the factory.
Yeah.
Besides that, there are probably around 10 notable differences within the motor.
Yeah.
I guess you could consider the RS motor almost like a built version of this motor.
Yeah.
And then the turbo's the same size, but the internals are slightly different.
Okay.
It's basically built to handle higher compression, more boost from the factory.
Yeah.
This thing still goes alright. Can't really complain.
Oh, that's
Pulls up
wow.
too.
So obviously, as you say, you've tuned it. Exhaust is definitely not stock.
Definitely not stock. It's just a full custom welded straight pipe system.
Yep.
Still factory. Got a Golf too. Still factory downpipes, factory cats, which are huge.
Yeah.
So this thing can get twice as loud if I wanted to.
Jeez. Bet your neighbours hate you.
Luckily, my neighbours are all pretty cool. I'm pretty respectful with this car. I try not to cold start it or anything past 8. If it's past 8, I'm like, okay, I guess I'm just not going out. There are children in my complex.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, no, my neighbours are all pretty cool because I'm respectful about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like if I do build it, it'll end up getting downpipes, of course. And part of that will have to be having to change parts of the exhaust, you know, variable mufflers and whatnot to quieten it down.
I must say, I was thinking to myself, I'm just like, I'm now feeling the heated seats now, which are, if you
want to turn them down, because
it's perfect.
It's on hot mode. There's kind of 1 which you don't feel, 2 which is perfect, 3 which I think is probably meant to be like the quick heating mode. But
look, as far as I'm concerned right now, it is perfect. I think for a lot of people like watching right now, it is freezing. It is just cold. We've been doing a few videos outside, just shooting the outside parts, which I'll probably splice into the video at certain points. But my God, these are godsend.
The fact that you can just do this pretty chill in comfort, you know.
And you can, so grippy. It's so grippy. Wow. So it's quite interesting. So like, even though like this is meant to be sort of that Autobahn wafter, it grips really well, goes really fast, and I must say I'm actually quite impressed for like such a big sedan to be able to move this much weight this quickly.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a lot of power, a lot of torque. I let a buddy of mine drive it last night for the first time. The main thing he noticed was, for such a long and wide wheelbase car that weighs 2 tons, it feels a lot lighter and it's a lot more nimble than it ought to be.
Ah, okay.
So it's really not too bad. It can catch you out because you do feel like you're driving a much lighter car, and then all of a sudden you'll hang it into a corner and realize you're in the steering 2 ton at like 150k an hour. But, it is a lot more, you know, it handles a lot better than it should for its size.
It's one of those things where I think a lot of these cars, obviously, you don't really appreciate them until obviously you get into them and actually experience them firsthand. But I feel like, especially with like, I've always been a big fan of like big sedans.
Yep.
Tons of space, able to move whatever you need to move, but at the same time you can have some aspect of a sports car aspect to it.
Like, and I mean, of course I'm biased because I own this car, but to me this is the perfect car. Maintenance costs aside. The fact that we had a Ford Ranger before, and you know, height is a little limited because the rear sloped roof line, of course, but you know, it's wider and you can fit more stuff in this than you could in the tray of that. You know, so, and you don't expect that. Yeah,
especially like what are these classified as? Coupes, like coupes to an extent, kinda.
It's sedan, coupe, fastback, hybrid.
It's just whatever the marketing geniuses call it, anyway.
Pretty much flavor of the day.
And like in terms of like sort of updates that you made. So when you bought it, relatively stock in itself, or had it already had some stuff done to it?
When I bought it, completely stock, completely untouched, immaculate condition. All the damage that's been done to it has been done by me. This was about as clean a used car as you could buy. Since then, of course, I've changed the exterior a bit. You know, carbon fiber mirrors, blacking out everything because I hate chrome. You know,
I like the bronze wheels that you had on as well. Jeez,
much more aggressive fitment. Then of course, you know, exhaust tuning, all that other kind of thing.
Oh, this sounds epic. That sounds awesome. Because I must say, like, the fact that you've done all the blackouts, it actually makes this even more menacing than what it is. Because obviously with these stock, they came with I don't know, they used to come with like the grey sort of what's not 5 spokes, might be 8 spokes if memory serves me correct. But I think you putting the bronze wheels just makes this look even more aggressive.
I mean, the main problem I have with the factory wheels for this is the fitment. They sit quite far in.
Okay.
Width-wise, these wheels are actually the same. It's just the offset that's much more aggressive. Because the wheel size from factory is pretty good. These, hold a 285 tire all around. And luckily the guards are happy to fit that with no issues.
No issues.
So long as you've got the right offset. But it's pretty well documented with this car, like wheel size and what you can and can't do. And luckily, because the guards are huge, you can pretty much get away with most things. And
you, I think you were saying like quite some time ago about how, in terms of like surrounding the wheels quite fairly, it has this really nice stance. I haven't really, because suspension-wise, it's stock. You can actually go under the car with like some OBD devices, VCDS, and actually recode the bags and where it wants to sit, so you can actually lower your car for free just by changing a few numbers. I haven't done it purely because you need an access code once you get to a certain part. For whatever reason, every single access code on the internet doesn't want to work for this car. But I had left this car for a few weeks while going away, and came back. I don't know why it's done it. I've checked over everything. There's no problems with the suspension. So I don't know if it just vents pressure after a while. But the car was completely slammed, sitting on the ground, and I was lucky enough that the fitment was, so good that you couldn't really fit a card in, but there was still a little bit of space with the guards. So I guess it's basically like car show, car show fitment for free at the end of the day. Stance fitment, I guess. Stance, true. So like with the interior, a lot of the aspects, so you got like the carbon fiber just in this sort of kind of area anyway, next to the vents, and also that's really cool how it wraps around in terms of carbon fiber just here as well. There's a lot of carbon fiber in here, which is nice, and it's all factory. I haven't touched the interior at all. The only thing I'd really consider doing with the interior is an aftermarket carbon wheel. Oh, okay. Yep. But other than that, everything's in here is beautiful. Yeah, I must say, like, even like with the seats, like, as you know, they're body hugging enough, but they're comfortable enough at the same time.
I mean, it's a touring car.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be a track car, but
Yeah.
you do have enough bolstering that even though the seats are completely leather, you don't sway around too much. It hugs you nicely, but not to the point where it gets irritating.
Yeah. So like even with the seats as well, like were these the only seats which were or were there options that were there as well?
I'm not sure about market-wise in Australia, but there are other seats you can get. They're like the comfort seats or whatever.
Yeah.
They're just the ones that come with all of the. They're the ones that come with all of the. He's distracted me.
Yeah. Yeah, they're the seats that come with all of the, you know, they have the cooling ventilation, Yeah.
massaging, all that. They do look a lot more like just a regular seat.
Yeah, fair enough.
Kind of bland.
Yeah.
So I do much prefer these seats because these look awesome.
And I like how they got like the diamond sort of quilt stitch that's on there as well.
yeah.
It looks really nice.
Because these are the same seats that you'll get in an RS7.
Yeah.
The only real difference is S7 is diamond stitch, whereas the RS7 is like the hexagonal.
Ah, yeah, fair enough. That's like the small differences, eh?
Yeah. I prefer the diamond stitch anyway.
Yeah, yeah. I must say, like, yeah, for me, I'm just like loving this interior. It's like I feel like it's aged better than most other European cars. I mean, the only thing being that, obviously with Audi, they have like sort of minimal, you know, revolution or evolutions of their infotainment, like with the MMI system. But my God, it still looks, as far as I'm concerned, it still looks like off the year, like in terms of it's just perfect.
Yeah,
Doesn't look old.
You could expect to see this in like a new car today.
Yeah.
I expect this car to age exceptionally well, both with interior and exterior. Like, I think the shape is timeless.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, I can't really complain. The difference between this generation C7, C7.5, which is exactly the same, and the C8 is pretty huge because unlike a lot of Audi models, there was no kind of in between.
Yeah, true.
Because they stopped production of these for a good few years and then went straight to the C8. Where, you know, you've got the big digital dash and then you've got the two multiple screens where
it's fingerprint prone. I'm like, what? How are you doing this?
I went to look at just an A7 before the SRS7s were even here, just to see what the interior was like.
Yeah.
And I remember the guy, like, it was the first thing I said to the salesman at the dealership, you know, like how they were fingerprints, because that would drive me nuts. My previous car had a touchscreen, and I didn't want to touch it. I used all the buttons because I hate fingerprints.
It's like,
and he was like, "Oh yeah, we've got a fingerprint proof coating. It's perfect. Whatever. Go and look at this one." It's just...
like, I think to myself, I'm like, I don't know if what the reason behind the whole like everything being touchscreen. Like as we were discussing before we started shooting, how there's like, I think is it the Ferrari SF90, everything is literally a touchscreen or a screen of some sort. I'm like, what happens if something goes wrong in the wiring? Like you there's nothing, you can't use it, you're done.
You just have to replace the whole thing.
Well, look, I mean, it's one of those things where I'm just like, look, bring back the buttons.
Yeah.
To all these automotive creatives and anyone who's designing new cars, can you bring back buttons? That's all I'm requesting now.
And I mean, like, it sounds like a douchey thing to say, but like, there's levels to buttons. There's buttons in a Corolla or whatever where it's just like your regular plastic button.
Yeah.
Or there's buttons. It's like same with keyboards, right?
Yeah,
you can
true.
get like a $10 keyboard.
Yeah.
Or you can get a $200 keyboard where it's got nice travel. It's nice and mechanical. It's really notchy. And I appreciate a good button.
Yeah, it's
a weird thing to say, a weird thing to think about. Like,
definitely keeping that in the video.
But yeah, I like good buttons. What can I say?
That's how it works. Everyone's got their niche. All right, Arawn, thanks so much for being on the show. Yeah, look, I mean, for me, like, you've just opened up my eyes in terms of just the S7 range of Audis. I was just like, I mean, I always liked them, but now I love them. But yeah, I'm feeling a bit hungry, and I think, you know what, let's go grab something to eat, man.
Yeah, let's do it, man. I was coming up to the corner like, oh, yes!